Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is your boy Sayjuan History here, and you are watching the Awaken Show. I'm with my boy, none other than Michael Beavers from UFOs over University of Oregon here. And we have two topics that we're actually going to be discussing today. But before we actually go into any of that, any of the UFO stuff, any of the space activity that's going on out there, we just want to really send our well wishes to Oregon and California. I mean, just the whole West Coast, really. They're on fire and people are in peril, people are in danger. And, we just want to send our shots out and let them know, that our thoughts and prayers are with them. So with that being said, we are definitely going to go into some really cool footage that we have, but that's going to be later because I actually found this footage. Me and Mike, we kind of go back and forth and we send each other footage on the different things that we see. And of course, one of the main things I'm sure that everyone saw was the New Jersey footage that actually went out. And, Mike sent me, I'm not going to lie. Mike originally sent me it. And, I have my head down and I'm working and I'm doing some other stuff. And Mike was like, dude, do you see the UFO? They say it's a blimp or something like that. And I'm like, whatever. I don't
okay. I thought it was the golden footage at first when I sent it to him. I said, oh my God, Rodney, they're here. They're here. And 25 people just stood on a highway and filmed it. And then I started digging deeper, and we'll show you guys the video so you guys can kind of check stuff out.
Yeah, we'll definitely go into that. But I gotta definitely apologize to Mike for that, because when I initially heard him say it, I really wasn't fully listening. And then my cousin that I really don't talk to too much, his name is Manuel Grace. He lives on the East Coast. And of course, this was on the East Coast, so he gets this information way before anyone. So he called me and was like, yo, son. he was like, you hear about the UFO, son? In New Jersey, word is born. And I'm like, what? What?
I would love to get a phone call like that.
Right. No disrespect, man. You know you my favorite cousin. I love you, man. I appreciate you. But that's the way you talk, brother. so
word is born. There's a UFO in the sky.
Word is born, son. So he told me, and I immediately looked it up, and I was like, oh crap. I was like, man, this is crazy. But the one thing that kind of threw me off when I first looked at it was the blinking light. But, I saw the blinking light and I still wanted to believe, right? So, it's just a blinking light, whatever. And as I looked at the footage more and more and started looking at different angles and close-ups, yeah. So we kind of already gave that away, but we are going to go ahead and look into it. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. But before we actually do, we want to actually touch on the topic that everyone, and I would say everyone and no one is talking about. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like that. There's a group of people, I would say, more in the fringes of like viewing space and looking at astronomy and stuff like that. Some people in the UFO community kind of stay away from that. They're specifically looking for things that are touching down on Earth. So it's the UFO community is weird. There are some communities, there's one big community, and then there's communities within communities. But we all come together for one sole purpose, and that is for, either life on other planets or life coming down to Earth. With that being said, I'm going to actually bring up this article here, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it off to you because it's quite interesting. And Mike, I don't know if you have anything to say in reference to this particular topic, but I know me and you talked about it a little bit here, and this one was interesting because this is, I don't know if you guys are aware, this is they're saying that they could have found potential life on Venus here. And Mike, just kind of go into that a little bit. I don't want to be talking all the time and, stealing all the line.
Yeah, no, for sure. Basically, scientists came out. I believe it's the National I think Astronomer Science League or something, a major science society
Yeah, there's a
basically
few
came
different
out.
articles on it, but yeah.
Yeah, and they came out and said that a gas was found with telescopes in the upper layers of Venus's clouds, and Venus itself is hot enough to melt lead, the actual temperature on Venus. But where they found this phosphine gas was actually in the clouds above it. And what that basically implies is that phosphine gas here on Earth comes from the breakdown of bioorganisms, like in swamps. If anybody of my North Carolina viewers are watching, you know that smell when we go out to the swamps and rivers and it just smells like real putrid sewer type smell. That's phosphine gas, and it's produced by bioorganisms breaking down in the swamp. And so what
Or
this is
us.
basically implying, yeah, and what this is implying is basically that either something bioorganism wise is breaking down in Venus's atmosphere, causing this phosphine, or there's a chemical process going on that we didn't think should ever be going on Venus. So it's a pretty wild scientific find for everything like that.
And we're going to read this article to you in just a second, but just kind of add to what Mike was actually speaking in regards to. You ever get in your car and see that little film on your car? It looks like a discoloration. That's actually a form of phosphine, which you're seeing on there too. So, the thing that's really interesting about this finding that they're actually finding on Venus, like Mike said, anything that touches the surface pretty much is toast. I mean, you have heats that are getting up to almost 200 degrees. I think the last probe that actually got sent there, I want to say it was by the Russians, and their probe or satellite lasted for about 20 minutes, and then it literally burned, in the fiery ashes of Venus here. But before it did, they actually picked up a lot of scientific data suggesting that our life could actually be habitable on Venus in the upper layers of the atmosphere. So when I first saw this, I was really interested. And I thought to myself, you know what? They probably knew about this 5 or 6 years ago, because they were talking about potential life actually living within the clouds of Venus, obviously, because nothing can actually touch the surface here. And they probably knew about this. And, again, like I always say, drip feeding us, giving us information that they want to so that we can slowly be disclosed to it. But if you're people like me, you're people like Mike, and you actually pay attention to this stuff, you've been hip to it, and you're looking at it, these articles, and you're saying, finally they show us the stuff that we already knew. Finally we get some kind of, just some kind of recognition or some kind of information, that we're
Validation.
Thank you. Validation, that we're on the right trail here. And I'm going to actually shut up and just kind of read this here. But it says, Paris, the FAP, the atmosphere of Venus contains traces of phosphine gas, which on Earth can be attributed to living organisms. It says scientists said on Monday, in a fresh insight into conditions on the nearest planetary neighbor, conditions on Venus are often described as hellish, with good reason, obviously. But it goes on to say, with daytime temperatures hot enough to melt lead, an atmosphere compromised almost entirely of carbon dioxide. It says a team of experts used telescopes in Hawaii and Chile deserts to observe Venus upper cloud deck around 60 kilometers, which is 45 miles from the surface. It says they detected traces of phosphine, a flammable gas that on Earth often occurs from the breakdown of organic matter. It says, writing in Nature Astronomy, the team stressed the presence of phosphine did not prove the presence of life on Venus. However, the clouds swirling above its broiling surface are highly acidic and therefore destroy phosphine very quickly. The research did show that something was creating it anew. So I just want to stop right there, and I'll go ahead and continue reading in just a second here. But what they are basically saying is the acidic, whatever's in the sky or the air of Venus here, it is so acidic that this phosphine gas should not be able to sustain enough of phosphine in that air to actually be detectable. But there's so much of it that they're able to detect it from these telescopes here that are over in Hawaii and Chile here. So that would mean that something is creating this phosphine gas, continuing it, so we can see it within our telescopes, and we can actually identify it here on Earth. Now that's amazing, because we actually have telescopes that are pointed at Venus, that are pointed at the moon, and that are pointed at different planets at all times here. So they're actually running all kind of data on these different planets here, and to finally actually see an amount of phosphine that can be detectable is showing that something is creating this, or some kind of chemical reaction is making this happen here. So now, could it be just a chemical reaction that's taking place on this planet, and it has nothing to do with organic matter? That is true, but the likeliness of that being evident is not so likely. So that's why people are actually finally looking into this, finally saying, hey, we might have something here, and it could have been in our backyard the whole freaking time. So
yeah, we're not looking at Mars anymore. We're going straight to Venus.
Right, which is amazing, because we can't live on Venus. We can only wave from afar. It's so hot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's interesting, and by the way, I almost forgot, we are actually screening you guys and looking at your comments as you go. So if you have comments, or you want to give or you want us to give you shots out here, definitely say hello. Me and Mike are actually watching you as real time here, we'll try to make sure that we're giving everybody shots out here, and that we're saying hello to everyone that's on here. So first off, I want to give shouts out to Lisa Stevenson, that's on here. Hello, how you doing? And yeah, we just thought that was really interesting, and we're definitely going to stay tuned on that particular article and see where it goes here. But now that there's potential life on Venus, and by the way too, we're not saying that this is sentient life. We're not saying that this is intelligent life. But any life, it can actually be a tree, it can be an organism, it can be a cell. It doesn't matter. Any life on any other planet, it's just going to be I don't even know the word.
To put some perspective on it, here on Earth, we have organisms a mile under our seas, under our oceans, that literally live on volcanic gases and stuff like that come out of underwater volcanoes. And there was thought that no life, no fish, no anything could ever live down there. And we're finding out just in this past 10 years that there are these bioorganisms, and they call them I believe they call them zombie organisms, because they're in a trance-like state their entire life. But they believe it might have been how life actually started on Earth, was down at these volcanic vents, and these organisms just feed off the carbon monoxide, and they metabolize it into keeping them alive somehow. And that just gives you a little idea of that could be something that might be going on Venus in these clouds, that these organisms are feeding off this phosphine, or giving off this phosphine, feeding off something else that we thought non-livable, but to them, they're able to metabolize it and stay alive for a little bit. So that really made me think about Venus in this sense, because it's not going to be some little green alien obviously hanging out in the Venus atmosphere, but it very well could be some sort of microscopic bioorganism that's in there. And I think that's what everybody needs to look at when actually talking about the life on Venus. We're not talking about people flying around in spaceships in Venus. We're talking about possible organism life on Venus.
And you know what? It's funny that you actually say that, Mike. You really just opened my mind up to a different perspective here when you said that, about they call them like zombie organisms here. Like, what if, like you were saying, what if that is the beginning of all life? But what if that is like a dormant stage for all life, not just on Earth, but just on every planet, and they wait for basically the planet to become habitable, and then they start to transform into, like a multi-organism or a multi-cell or nucleus or whatever the case may be. So
definitely.
That is a just very, very interesting to think about here, that life is so durable, that it's saying, we know that this world is not habitable, but we will stay in this dormant zombie-like status until 5-6 billion years passes by, and it finally becomes habitable. That is freaking amazing.
Could have been like that here on Earth. If Earth was frozen at one time, we have organisms that live in dead frozen ice that nothing else should be living in, and that's on top of our surface. And there's organisms, it's like an ice worm of some sort that actually lives inside of ice. And that's another thing that we discovered recently. And there's just so many uninhabitable places to us that we thought would never, ever have life. And the deeper we go, the more scientific achievements we get, the more we end up finding that there's things that are living on this planet that we thought would never, ever be possible.
And you know what? This is kind of cliche what I'm about to say. I know we all know this, but it's kind of funny. Sometimes I think that we have more open minds than the scientists do, and I believe that we do. But you would think as scientists that they would actually have, more of an open mind than we would, because they're obviously looking at the unknown, trying to confirm what is not there. So with that being said, you would think, that they would open their worldview and say, hey, there may be things on other planets that are entirely, completely different from us, and it's weird to me, because if you guys don't know, scientists actually go by this model of how we live and what we can survive in. So they base everything off of, how we live and the temperatures we can live on and the Goldilocks spot and everything. That's how they base whether if anything can live on the planet or not. But we don't know if there are other things out there that have other structures, other molecules, other, just a whole different biosphere of what we are familiar with. So, I mean, there can be life. We can literally be passing life up on other planets because of the model that the human is going off of.
Saying, old scientific theory.
Right. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it has carbon monoxide on it. There are things that can thrive. We're talking about the what was it? What do they call those things that they actually just exploded on the moon? Was like jelly. It's like organisms or something like that. And they landed.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah. There's like some kind of organism, and it got loose on the moon, and they're saying they hope that it doesn't change the habitat.
Oh, like we let it loose on the moon.
Yeah, we let it loose on the moon, and they're saying that they hope we don't change. That
sounds like a bad sci-fi movie plot.
Right. But hopefully it doesn't change the biosphere of the moon here, and everything's okay. But there could be potentially living organisms on the moon, not because they were there, but because we accidentally put them on there, because these things can survive anything from what they say. These things can survive.
Well, I imagine just us going to a moon, we have bioorganisms, germs, all types of things living on our skin. Mm-hmm. We go to space and we open up that shuttle door when we landed on the moon, and we walk outside of that shuttle door. I can imagine there's a germ or two somewhere on that suit somewhere that could possibly drop off and end up on the moon completely accidentally.
Can they survive that harsh atmosphere, though? That's the key.
But that would be a great scientific experiment to find out if it can survive that atmosphere, because that would be something totally new.
I wonder if they've done that before. I'm sure NASA has done that before.
Yeah, they got some secret projects they're not telling us about.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure they've done that. NASA, if you have the data on that, send that to me. No, I'm playing. They're never.
Yeah. Shoot me an email.
Right, shoot me an email. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway,
live stream getting taken down in 3, 2, 1.
Man, listen. El Diablo. Man. No, but let's actually go ahead and step away from this topic a little bit and touch on the one we were originally speaking in regards to. I know you guys definitely have some opinions on this one. Like I said before, I wanted so bad for this one to be real, and it wasn't. I was heartbroken. And first, if I'm honest, when I first looked at it and seen the initial footage, and then I started looking around and they kept saying that it was a blimp, my first thought was cover up. Cover up.
Yeah. Seems reasonable. That's about what happens with every other sighting, so why wouldn't it happen with this one?
Right. That was so. I was like, I stepped away and I was mad because I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, and I immediately start jumping into creating a video. I was like, I'm gonna make this video, and I literally made the video, and then something told me my spider senses started tingling, and I was like, wait a minute, Rodney. So I went and I checked, and then I looked at more footage. I contacted Mike, and I was like,
it was a very disappointing message. You were like, oh, you're right, dude. I was like, oh, I feel like a heartbreaker right now, man.
I was like, oh man, this is horrible. And we want to know, did you guys feel that way when you guys actually saw the footage and then come to realize that it was actually just a blimp? Or do you guys still think it's a UFO? With that being said, while we're actually pondering that, definitely leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about it. And we're going to actually play the footage as it goes so we can recount it in real time. So let me actually go ahead and get this ball rolling. I'll bring this up here if I can stop fiddling and make sure this comes up properly here. Okay, yeah, so we'll go ahead and play this, and we'll kind of be wallowing in the background. But check it out. Let us know what you think.
Look, it's a fucking spaceship. Look, the whole street is fucking stopped. There's a fucking flying spaceship. What the fuck? Look. Yo, what the fuck? Look at that shit. Oh, I got it parked for this. Yo, what? No way. Yo, look at that. Look at everybody in the highway right now. I don't know, bro. Ni idea. A mí no se mueve de ahí. Look, it's a fucking spaceship. Look, the whole street is fucking stopped.
So we'll go and let this play, but we'll turn off the audio that's in the background because it's just going to loop itself here. But I actually wanted to go to some of the comments here because first off, Brennan Steinberg said, it's a blimp. Get over it, you guys. Pretty much. I'm not going to use the words he used, but it's a blimp. Get over it here. So, we agree. And I'm sure there were some people that would not agree with you. So let's analyze it. Let's actually look at that and see why people didn't think it was a blimp. Well, as far as the people that are actually looking at it on YouTube or looking at it from a screen here, me and Mike were actually talking about this, and we were like, I know that it's hard to actually see it on the screen of a camera on your phone, but our eyes are a little bit better than that. And you would think 30 or 40 people pulling over on the side of the road would actually
should have known that was
determine.
It should have been clearly.
Right, would be able to know that.
That's the only part about these videos that's still bothering me so much is all those people. One of them got 20/20 vision. I don't care how many there are. One of them people got 20/20 vision, and it's not far away.
No.
So I feel like somebody should have been able to go, oh, that's a blimp. I'm not going to stop traffic on this major highway in New Jersey to possibly cause a mass car accident to film the Goodyear blimp that's been around for 20 years.
I mean, they're
that's
literally
the one part of this video that's still bothering me.
Right. I mean, they're literally crossing the freeway to get to the middle of the intersection here so they can get a closer shot of the actual object that's in the air here. It's crazy that they're actually all pulling up like this here to see what's going on and still can't determine that it's a blimp. And my thought process was like, man, this has got to be some kind of super space age blimp. But when I saw it up close, I was like, it just has a freaking screen on the side of it. It's it's the screen, and it switches from like an American flag to some writing across. You can also see the flight indicator lights, the white and red blinking lights up in the top back tail end of it. This video is one of the least clearer ones. It's not the best quality. I have seen some other videos on Twitter that seem to be from the same area but a little more close up, and those ones seem to semi go more towards blimp for sure. But I don't know, man. All those people watching, I don't know how one of them isn't looking at everybody and going, dude, it's just a blimp, get back in your car, right?
Stop blocking traffic.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that was what threw me off. Obviously, there are other clips of this particular footage. I don't have them on hand right now, but it clearly shows that it's a blimp here. And when I looked at that, and then of course you can see the blinking indicator lights on there, and then you can actually have confirmation from Goodyear saying that it is our blimp. I mean, come on. You have all of these indicators, dude. It's a blimp. Guys. It's a blimp.
It points towards blimp. It definitely points towards blimp.
Yeah.
Now it does look a little overcast. I don't know if the wildfire smoke from the West Coast made it over there. I have seen some news stories about our smoky haze making it out towards the East Coast. I don't know if that could play a part in it and why they can't see it. Maybe it's hazy out, so they can't actually see the Goodyear blimp itself, but just the object and the blue light. And in that case, I could understand why a bunch of people would be out there watching it, because it does have that kind of hazy look out there.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I know my other half was actually mentioning to me, maybe it's a little cloudy and they can't actually see it here. I didn't know that the wildfire smoke was actually, getting all the way out there on the East Coast like that. But yeah, potentially for sure.
Yeah, I had some family back in Baltimore, Maryland. My cousin Crystal had posted a news story that saying hazy, overcast skies in Baltimore caused by wildfire smoke from the West Coast. And she had sent it to me because she was like, man, keep you guys' smoke over there. And I said, man, I know I saw a smoke map that showed it thousands of miles out into the Pacific coast, actually swirling into a Pacific storm. So the smoke is definitely traveling, but I didn't know it was actually traveling towards the east as well as further west. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those people that are actually just thinking that these are wildfires, no. I mean, we are getting some freaky weather. I mean, the majority of the actual fires over in California started by dry lightning. Dude, I never even heard of dry lightning before this actually started happening. Lightning was touching. Is
that no rain, no anything, and just randomly thunderstorms without the rain?
No kind of precipitation whatsoever. Just lightning, like raining down from the sky and actually starting these fires. So that's what initially started the fires. Then we had some idiots doing a gender reveal that actually, continued it. There were some other fires that are literally saying that they were actually started by arsonists. There were some guy actually going down freeways.
A few people have been arrested in Oregon.
Yeah, like what the heck's going on? And I'm not going to lie and sit here and say that we aren't conspiracy theorists, because we are to some degree. I mean, we all are to some degree. But I would like to think that me and Mike are conspiracy theorists that rely on data. We actually, we're not the ones that would just believe any conspiracy, So with that being said, isn't it interesting? And Mike brought this up to me here, so I don't know if I should let you mention it, if you know what I'm talking about with the map of the fires.
Yeah. So if you look at the United States fire map, it's kind of funny, but all these fires, all the way from Washington State over to Colorado, Nevada, down through Oregon, down through California, magically stop at the Canadian border and magically stop at the Mexican border. And it made no sense to me, because these are these unprecedented, uncontrollable wildfires. I know the Trump wall isn't stopping fires from jumping over. I know the Canadian border the Mounties on the horses aren't stopping the wildfire from jumping over. So it seems very controlled.
Listen, don't say that we can't stop.
Keep your fires over there, A.
We don't say that we can't stop fires, A. We're good at stopping fires. But no, yeah. Mike's right. It is interesting.
Yeah.
And I said something to him, and I'll say it again. Borders don't stop fires. Borders do not respect politics. And fires don't respect politics. It doesn't care anything about anything we're doing. We are petty, stupid humans to this fire, and it's anything that's dry and can be lit on fire, it's going to consume.
It's burning.
It's going to burn it. So.
And if it's burning at the border, the climate and the terrain doesn't automatically, like when you go from Southern California and you have the wall there to Mexico and you jump over that wall, the terrain doesn't automatically change to unburnable terrain. It's still hot and dry down there.
Absolutely.
The temperature doesn't go up, the humidity doesn't go up. It's still exactly the same. But I also want to point out that we have 5 hurricanes brewing right now in the Atlantic, and we're actually switching to the Greek alphabet for the new hurricane names after this. 5 hurricanes brewing at once. If that's not climate change or something serious going on, I don't know. There is this 2020 is wild, and we still got a few more months left.
And it was unprecedented when it was just 2 hurricanes at once.
Yeah.
Now it's 5.
All the memes.
Look, remember this. We never had 2 hurricanes at once. We never had 2 hurricanes simultaneously at the same time. Now we have how many, Mike?
5. We have 5 named hurricane storms in the Atlantic brewing right now. It's almost a joke. It doesn't even make so much sense. Like, you have to just laugh at it and go, well, 2020, I'll chalk it up to bingo. I don't even know anymore. It's going out of control, man.
And if I'm adding to it here, now you're seeing these whirlwinds with these fires, and I don't know what to call them, but they're like fire whirlwinds, and we're seeing
fire
that
spins, basically fire tornadoes.
Yeah,
infernos. Tornadoes. I think they're called infernos.
And it's funny too how we talk about the borders, and then we actually talk about the fires, how they're magically stopping at borders and stuff like that. I think it's interesting how these fires can magically jump freeways, but they can't jump borders. Like me and my fiance, we actually drove down to the Bay Area a couple of weeks ago just to actually see the devastation of the fires. And I would actually have posted it up, but she couldn't keep her hands steady enough to for anybody to really not get a headache. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that was just a bust.
Real quick, I just want to shout out to Corleone. This is actually live. She asked if this is actually a live stream or not. Thank you for watching. Feel free to share, and we are definitely having this live conversation right now.
Absolutely. Big shouts out to Corleone, but also big shouts out to Jason Few, Cody Pierce, and it's the other one here, Michael. Mike Dillon.
I can't see the viewers. I can see comments, but I know there's about 16 people watching, so shout out to all 16 of you.
Shout out to everybody.
Checking this out.
If you guys have a question, definitely leave a comment here. We'll make sure that we get to you guys here. With that being said, again, what do you think about this here? Me and Mike, with our wonderful, observations and dissemination here of what's happening here, we have concluded that this is a freaking blimp, you guys. So,
yeah.
We
went a little off topic, but the end of the story is it's probably a blimp.
It's a blimp, you guys. Hate to say it, I'm sorry. Also, too, I wanted to actually go into another video, and what we do here, like I was saying in the beginning, me and Mike, we will basically look for footage that we can actually air to you guys here. But before we even put it out, we'll sometimes run it across each other. We'll say, hey, I got this. What do you think about this? You think it's real? Nah, because of this or because of that. And a lot of footage that we actually go over here, we don't put up because it usually doesn't meet the standards. It just doesn't meet the standards. And then there are some, that get put up, and, that's what we're actually going to be speaking in reference to today. I was looking at this footage, and I can't believe that I haven't, you know what? I saw pictures of this particular footage, but I've never saw the actual footage on its own merit here. And this is actually coming from a gentleman. I don't want to butcher his name. I actually don't remember his name. I'm going to let this play here. And you guys let me know if you've ever seen this footage before, and we'll actually start from there. So I hope you guys enjoy, and we will be right back.
So keeping my eyes on it, I walked around to the side of my house so that this object was between my house and slightly over my neighbor's house as well. Probably about 300-400 feet in the air. The object, as I studied it, appeared to be about 4 to 6 foot in diameter. And I watched it for a couple of minutes. I heard no sound. I could see the object floating almost as if it was in water. It would rise up and down just slightly and sway back and forth a little bit. And it had what appeared to be something coming down from the bottom. I thought perhaps it was a balloon. And then the more I looked at it, the more I could see faintly some windows or a stripe going around the center of this sphere. And I decided, well, it hadn't gone away after 2 or 3 minutes, so I thought I'd take a chance, run inside, grab my camera.
Wow.
A Nikon, came out, set it up on a tripod, and started taking photographs of it.
That was Rick Ibarra. On September 10th, 2014, Rick pulled into his driveway around 6:45 p.m. when he noticed a sphere in the sky. A retired Department of Defense therapist who worked at Naval Base San Diego and Submarine Base Point Loma, we recently spoke to him about the sighting.
So keeping my eyes on it, I walked around to the side of my house so that this object was between my house and slightly over my neighbor's house as well. Probably about 300-400 feet in the air. The object, as I studied it, appeared to be about 4 to 6 foot in diameter. And I watched it for a couple of minutes, anticipating that it would fly away or do something different.
Rick next grabbed his camera and tripod and snapped these. The metadata matches his account, showing the images were taken over a half-hour period during twilight. ISO settings and exposure times.
Okay, so look, you guys, I deal with Nikon cameras, I deal with Canon cameras, I deal with all kind of different features that come with it, astroscopes, 9350s. I deal with the immersed telescope, the Imron telescope. I actually deal with the HD Kaleidotron. Just all these different telescopes and features that go on to these particular cameras. So I can tell you the metadata that they're actually looking at is 120% real. That is literally 100% proof that this guy has taken this footage, that it is real, and that it is legit. Now, what they're looking at, I have no clue. But if I'm actually looking at this and just thinking in my conspiracy theory mind, I would immediately think that this, and this is just spitballing here. I'm not saying this is what it is or anything of that nature. But if I was just to go off the top of my head, I would say this would have to be some kind of like probe from potentially from another planet. Is that what you were going with, Mike?
Well, yeah, and it's actually funny. Corleone actually just commented and said that it looks like the Sputnik satellite. And I remember when you first showed this to me, I said, man, that almost resembles like a satellite. And in my head, I'm like, well, it's too low in our atmosphere to be a satellite without falling and hitting the ground as fast as it possibly could. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I like your theory with the possible probe or satellite from somewhere else that's not actually ours.
Yeah,
and because it doesn't have, it looks like it has antennas, receptors, and all kinds of other things on it. The windows or vents on it are just, it's just absolutely strange.
Yeah, I mean, we send all kind of different probes out to various planets, all over the place. So why can't somebody else do it to us? I mean, it's very possible. Yeah. It makes sense. If I was another species from another planet and I wanted to know what was going on with this little blue marble in the corner of the universe here, I would definitely send out a probe and figure out, is it habitable? What kind of life is on there? What are they using for energy? Just all kind of different aspects, and that's exactly what it looks like. I looked at those 3 antennas.
The weird part about it doesn't have any solar panels or anything like that, which is how we power our satellites, solar wind and things like that. That's how we power our satellites. This thing doesn't seem like it has any sort of propulsion or something that's keeping it off the ground or in the sky. It's very strange. It looks very out of place. It doesn't look like anything we normally put in the skies.
Yeah, this is all new technology, and the first thing I thought, this is me going into my scientist thought process, is, man, if we can just get a piece of that metal and see what that metal was.
Oh man,
if
it's even metal, it may look metal, but who knows if that's actually metal or not?
Right. If we can just determine that this particular whatever it is, this material is not made or from Earth here, I mean, that would just open up so many different avenues for us. I mean, it would
And this was also filmed by a Department of Defense therapist, which I thought gives it a little bit more credible. It's not your just regular average Joe. It's a semi-respected worker in the government and stuff like that. May not be a scientist, but you work for the Department of Defense. You go through some sort of mental clearance before you can work for them, especially being a therapist. So with that being said, I think that lends it even more of a little bit of credibility, because I couldn't even tell you what it is. It's so odd. It does not fit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not one of us, is what Mike is saying.
Making
this dissemination and saying, hey, this is something strange. This is somebody from a supposedly credible, U.S. department here, saying that, hey, this is something that I happen to catch, and this is my field of expertise. And, this is nothing that I can readily identify here. And I've actually taken this back to the base, and they can't identify this either. Good read, by the way, too, Mike. Thanks for that.
For sure.
So yeah, man, I mean, I wanted to actually go ahead and see if I can get up a little bit more footage in reference to it, but I can't find it at this particular point in time. I want to give some shots out to everyone on here, because I'm looking at the comments on here. And I want to give shouts out to Corleone. I think it's Corleone again. Also giving shouts out to Davin Cleaver. And let me see here.
Man, we got a whole 32 viewers right now. What's up, everybody?
What is going on? Let everybody know that you're here, man.
Yeah, for sure.
We are watching with you guys here, so we're definitely checking you out. Not in a weird way, though.
No.
Not in a weird way. Let's go. Let me actually go ahead and go back to this footage here, because I wanted to touch on this just a little bit more. So I want to go back to this UFO. Well, I can't even call it UFO footage anymore, because we know that it's a blimp here. But yeah, this I was actually, while we were talking, I was just looking on my phone. This is a newer model. It's actually more sleeker. It's not the same blimp that the Goodyear normally uses. This was actually a newer blimp that they had actually just came out with. So again,
that was one of the questions I was asking at first. With it being so much thinner looking on camera, I was like, man, normally the Goodyear blimp looks like a massive ball in the sky that you could see from forever away. So I'm glad you actually said that, because that was one of the other things besides all the people filming it that threw me off. Was I was like, man, that thing looks skinny.
Yeah, this is actually one of their newer models here. So, you know, this is interesting, because you would think they would put something out letting people know, hey, you know, it's going to be a weird object flying in the sky.
Yeah. Just a blimp. Well, I mean, you would think. Here's the thing: what's the point of that LED screen? If it's so far away, you can't even. You're assuming this is a flying saucer with a beam under it. Ain't nobody reading what's on that blimp. you can't see it. Right. You know what I'm saying? What's the point of the LED screen?
Right. You know, maybe if you're closer, but God, they're so close already.
Yeah, that thing's not far. That thing looks like it might be maybe 2 or 3 miles away.
That is not far at all. I mean,
yeah.
God, I mean, you can easily just, you know, take your fingers and zoom in with your phone, or, you know, to get some kind of perspective on that, man.
Yeah.
You know, I think that somebody there would have had to had a camera and been able to zoom in and say, hey, you know, guys, this is a
false alarm.
False alarm. It's a blimp. Everybody go back to your cars. This is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, they're blocking traffic on a major highway in New Jersey, and I've driven up and down 95 and down some of those side highways, and they're busy. That is not a place you want to park your car and hop out and start filming stuff unless it's an end of the world scenario. You're liable to get ran over real quick or cause a 50-car pileup.
Yeah, man, this is just it's very sad to me. it's very sad because
it was,
man, you know,
I woke up to this video, posted 1,000. All my friends, shout out to Sherwood, shout out to Heather Bird. A whole bunch of my friends were sharing this to my direct wall, like, yo, you got to see this. And then it's all over my feed. I said, man, this video is getting posted. I've seen it 100 times in the first 5 minutes I turned my phone on. So I was like, it's got to be something. And then I click it and I watch it and I see all these people, and I immediately messaged you and was like, Rodney, the golden footage here. It's here. The aliens are here. We found them. They're flying over New Jersey. I don't know what it is about New Jersey, but they're there. And then after that, we did our deeper digging and came to our blimp conclusions and stuff. But I was excited at first, man. It went viral quick.
And that's another thing too, just so you guys know, when Mike actually uses the term, you know, golden footage, we're done. I'm sorry, my mind's going other places. I'm thinking of golden shower, but
not that golden footage.
Not that golden footage, right?
Not that golden footage.
But when Mike says golden footage, we're actually talking. That's a term we use, and we're just saying, like, this is the one that's going to wake everyone up, not just our community. Yeah. This is going to be the one.
And we're looking for that footage.
We are hunting.
And you got it. Send it to us,
please. We beg you to send that to us. I mean, we are waiting for that footage like no one's business, man. I mean, this so bad we want that footage. So if you guys are out there, you're watching, and there's somebody who has a Nikon or a Canon camera tucked away with a little memory card that has undeniable UFO evidence on it, if you want to send that to us, we'd pay you for it. So
yeah. If it's worth it, we will pay you for it.
Absolutely.
I don't even care. We need it. We are on it. And that's what we always talk to each other about in messages. We probably message each other 50 times back and forth each day. Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Well, it has this. It has this. And we sit there and we do this all day back and forth, just waiting for that holy grail of footage that we can show to everybody and go, hey, it's here, guys. We know what it is, and they're here.
Right. And when that comes out, believe me, again, we will definitely let you know. I actually wanted to speak in reference to a little bit in regards to I don't want to give too much information away because I don't want to get in trouble. But there's a new show that's coming out on the Travel Channel here, and it's the hosts are going to be God, can I even say that? Can I give away that information?
Well, we could say there's the host. Well, I don't know. I would imagine you should be able to say that. I would think because they're already on TV on separate series and stuff. So
right, we're there's a host, and it's going to be the Ghost Brothers from the Travel Channel, and it's going to be Jack Osborne. Now, I have
none other than Ozzy Osbourne's son.
None other than Ozzy Osbourne's son. And I got a chance to actually speak with all four of those guys. Really, really cool guys, really down to earth. I was very, very surprised. And they were just asking me about the UFO footage that I'd actually caught in Monterey, California here. And, I was just going over and basically letting them know what I caught and, essentially what I thought about it here. It was really interesting to me. And if you guys had not seen it, I am going to give you guys a sneak peek of the footage that's going to be on a new show on the Travel Channel. I'm not going to tell you what the name of the show is, because I really don't honestly know what the name of the show is.
It's the show to be named in the future.
Right. It's the show to be the unnamed show in the future that's coming on the Travel Channel. But, we'll go ahead and play this. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's really interesting. This is in Monterey, California, back in the beginning of 2019. I know I said 18 in the footage, but it's 19. Dude, I was literally freaking out when I caught this footage, and I couldn't believe it because, again, I have a night vision camera, a really high powered night vision camera, military spec, military grade. And I couldn't see this object with the naked eye. And it was literally in floating above the ocean. And, it was very strange because it was coming down from a vertical angle. And it just literally stood in midair. You know what? I'm going to stop talking about it. I'll let you guys check it out. Let me
the footage speaks for itself. This is my favorite footage Rodney has ever captured by far.
So, check it out. Let me know what you guys think here. So I went to a different vantage point, like 2 miles down, to see if I could still see it. And it's still there. Now that's one piece of footage that we actually have there. I have several, and unfortunately, the camera ended up dying. I literally sat there and recorded this footage for literally almost an hour, and just trying to figure out what the heck I was watching. Now, guys, remember again, this was in the middle of the ocean. This wasn't something that was on land. It wasn't anything like that. And if it was, actually coming from like a vessel or like a boat or something, I absolutely would have been able to see that boat, from my camera. But again, nothing. There was nothing else there. It was just the most strangest, amazing thing that I ever caught personally. and I'm going to play this other footage here. I think this is a different clip here, but we'll check it out and we'll see.
And again, I don't know what the hell that is.
That's cool. No, it's not cool. It's fucking scary.
What the fuck?
The camera is
I'd be screaming so loud right now. You already know how I'm.
Yeah.
Oh, battery's going out. Like, I'm recording it again. I don't know what the hell that is.
That's cool. No, it's not cool. It's fucking scary.
What the fuck?
The camera.
So again, the two ladies that you actually hear in the background, I happened to actually come across them when I actually moved to a different vantage point. They were sitting on Lover's Point in Monterey, California, and one of the ladies, you can't hear her, but she asked, "Is that pre-recorded?" And I said, "No, this is live." And that's when she said, "No, that's not freaking cool. That's freaking scary." and it is. It is scary to think about it, because you're watching something that's in the sky right now and you can't see it with your own eyes.
And it's not there.
And it's not.
And to put in some perspective, you film the sky so much. I mean, as far as any of my friends go or anybody I've worked with before, you are one of the more experienced sky watchers, astrophotographers that I've met. You know what's up there. You know what your camera does. It doesn't magically put lights out there that aren't there. You know that most of the time you use stuff with the camera, you can see it with your own eyes. I would say probably 99% of it, that's the case.
If you have a clear
but on
sky,
this one, without that happening, it's just insane.
Absolutely. And like I was saying, if you have a clear sky and you're actually, have pretty good vision, you can see satellites. I mean, you can see satellites with your eyes, so to pick something up like that on the camera, it's not going to be a big deal. There are some that are a little high up that you can't really see with your eyes here that the camera catches. But again, satellites are all similar. They all do the same thing. They all go in this like this hill shape movement where they come around like this. They all do this. Yeah. Every time. Just
a nice little solid light that you'll see go by. It won't blink. It's not going to jump side to side. It's just going to look like a little light going nice and slow across the sky. Each one you normally see lasts about 15 to 20 seconds for vision range going across the sky. You could watch it for about that long if you catch it all the way at one end of the sky going all the way to the other. And this isn't moving. This is just floating there. Yep. And if I'm correct, one of the lights actually blinks on and off during the video in your recording here, and it just none of it makes sense. And they're lined up vertically, not side to side, like you would say Starlink would be. None of it adds up.
And again, I'm glad you mentioned Starlink too, Mike, because even with Starlink even follows the trajectory of satellites. If you ever look at Starlink, they do that same thing where they go up and then they kind of curve. Now, granted, with Starlink, it's more lengthier, because they're going over a wider range.
A lot more spread apart.
Yeah, but again, it's all the same thing. These things that we're catching, that's not that. Now, I wanted to actually go into some of the comments here. Now, Corleone said, that's not a satellite. That's something else. I totally agree. He asked, too, he says, how far up do you think it was? This thing maybe had to be 300, 500 feet up. It wasn't up that far. And my camera actually went out, but I watched this thing disappear in midair. I freaking watched this thing disappear in midair here. And, to watch it go out and disappear and not be able to see it on the camera, it almost makes me feel like whatever it was, it knew I was watching it. That's what it made me feel like here. I went back the very next morning so I can see if it was just something that was in the distant clouds or, maybe a mountain or something, anything. When you deal with stuff like this, you want to try to make sense of it. so you don't put it out and make yourself look like an ass. That's mainly what I'm.
Yeah.
I don't want to make myself look like I'm crazy here.
So Michael D. Leon, if I said that right, I apologize, said Lover's Point Navy has F-35s based there, possibly flares at a distance. Just saying. But I've seen flare videos. I've watched a lot of those videos just to get myself knowledgeable about flares. You don't normally see flares that close to each other, and you're not going to see one of the flares turn off and then turn back on. And in this video, if you actually zoom in and look, you will see there's lights actually blinking, turning off, then turning back on. And the amount of time that they were filmed, flares would have burned out long before he was able to film it this long. So yeah. I do not believe this is flares at all.
Yeah, they're not going to stay on for, I literally recorded this for an hour as much as my camera would allow me to. And then I literally stayed there for almost another hour until it went out here. So flares are not going to burn for a total of 2 hours. They're going to go out within a matter of minutes. Also, I want to give shouts out to, for Juan Daniels. Want to give shouts out to Rick. Give shouts out to Oli Sweetson and Mary Higginbotham. I know there are other people that are on here, so shouts out to everybody that's actually on. Mike, you have anything else for us here?
Sure. I'll just I'll plug myself in a little bit if that's all right.
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff going on the UFOs over U of O, as in University of Oregon YouTube channel. We have a new interview series coming out where we're actually going to be interviewing social media personalities, music artists, rappers, and all kinds of stuff about what their takes are on UFOs and things like that. And it's going to be more of like a video podcast based kind of video, more for entertainment, but definitely some useful information on there. But we're also always doing the UFO review videos, and I got some new cameras and stuff like that, so I'm going to be out sky watching as soon as this wildfire smoke clears, and hopefully I'll get some good footage for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the Awaken Show goes, we're always out there looking for new content that we can give to you guys here with, of course, my Nikon D56 camera and a 9350 astroscope attachment here, looking to see if there's any anomalous activity in the sky. I do have a few interviews coming up myself. I'm not going to do any mentions here because I want you guys to be surprised when we actually go ahead and get those people on here. I will say they're going to be pretty interesting. They are people that some of them are a little bit more local. So I definitely want to get those guys in because I feel like we are all a community, but I also feel like these guys that are putting in the time, putting in that effort here, I feel like we are the next stage of ufologists. I mean, we have like Stanton, who recently just passed away, but we are those guys here, and we're putting in the work, and we're doing the hard work and doing the hard research here that nobody wants to do. So I feel like we are the evolution ufology here, and it's going to be very interesting when it's finally our time to take that position here. So I want to also give shouts out to Tim Dust, and if you don't know him by his regular name, that is UFO Man. He actually has a lot of things going on. I definitely want to get him on air.
Great guy.
Really good guy that's out there. And, I haven't actually talked to her, but I want to get Shantana on too. She's a really cool person too. She actually has a really cool podcast that's on here. So you guys just look up Shantana. You can find her and she should come right up here. But with that being said, I think we're just about all done here. If anything new comes out, we will definitely let you know. I'm actually going to discuss with Mike to see if we can actually do this on a recurring basis, if we want to get a schedule out or something, because this turned out really good. It's turned out really good. But with that being said, check out the Awaken Show. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube at the Awaken Show here. And with that, we're going to go ahead and let you guys go. We appreciate everybody, and we will talk to you guys later. Peace.
Until next time.
Until next guy. Time. What am I saying? Time. All right. Peace, you guys. We'll talk to you later.